Now for a break.
Welcome everyone to episode number 5 of the NFT Gaming Podcast. I am your host Tarantar, and I'm joined today by my wonderful co-host Fedzi, and our guests Dan from Immersys IO and Eleblobs, and Ruthless, who is a very valued member of the NFT gaming community. I hope you're both doing well. We are super excited to have you both here. Ruthless, how are you doing?
Good man. Excited to be here.
Great. And Dan, how about you?
Yeah, great. I appreciate you having me on, and excited to talk talk to you
Great.
guys
Yeah.
about stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we are too. We're excited to have you both on. Ruthless, would you start just giving us a little background about yourself?
Yeah, sure, Aaron. So I've been involved in blockchain and crypto since 2015. In the most recent years, I've been involved in educating and onboarding people to the blockchain and the spaces around. And then in most recent months, I've moved into the blockchain gaming space, and yeah, been investing in some new projects here.
Yeah, and we really appreciate having you here. You've been really helpful with like onboarding new people into the NFT gaming community and helping a lot of us, including myself, learn about crypto and NFT games. Dan, for yourself, would you mind like giving us an intro to like maybe crypto and crypto gaming for you, and like what started it off for you and what got you interested?
Yeah. So probably like May 2020, like me and my partner, we started working on a game called Eleblob. And around the time we were creating all these assets, and one night, I stumbled upon Atomic Hub, and I saw that you can start selling like art on it. So I didn't really know exactly what it was initially. Listed up some Ellie blobs as like NFTs. So you'll probably notice if you're on the marketplace, there's like little tiny ones. Those were kind of the original blobs, and we started to really start noticing like, hey, we can create NFTs, incorporate them in games, and then that's kind of when it kind of took off. Our initial game release was the packs, but we saw more potential in creating like an entire metaverse, and that's what led us to Immersys. But yeah, I mean, I've been in buying like different cryptocurrencies probably since about 2019, so I'm pretty new. But I feel like we got in a pretty early. I think anything before like December of 2020 is pretty early in the NFT space, especially on Atomic Hub. So we got in pretty early there, and have kind of been exploring it and finding some cool stuff.
That's awesome. No, it's funny because my follow-up question after that was going to be which project you started first, but it's nice to know that kind of Eleblobs made you branch into the idea of Immersys and making like a metaverse for the Eleblobs to have a home in, which is very cool. Um, on that note, so obviously you wanted to make these NFTs and make a space for it. Why Wax? What intrigued you about the Wax network for Eleblobs?
Yeah, so I saw the creator, and I read his profile. I saw that Wax was free transactions. So first off, like I really liked Ethereum originally, just because it was just a popular thing, and it was the thing that I owned the most, crypto. And when I found Wax, like it was just like I said, it was just a random night. I found Atomic Hub listed these NFTs as like a joke. They sold instantly, And it was back when Atomic Hub had the notifications pop up when something sold. So it was so exciting to just see like me put it on, and then like a second later it just sell. So I was kind of addicted from that moment on, and just really I was just like, okay, I got to learn more about wax. The more I looked into it, more I liked it. The fact that you can get people like I thank goodness, Ruthless is onboarding people, but it's pretty easy to get somebody into a wallet, which is awesome too. Like you don't have to go through MetaMask and all that other stuff. Like they
Mm.
can get a wallet. Um, Now really our goal is just to like make those NFTs that are in your wallet feel a little bit more familiar to like the common person by making them game items. And yeah, so that was kind of the start, and now we're at Immersys.
Oh yeah, for sure. And on a similar note, yeah, like a lot of us are huge into Engine and the
Yeah.
Ethereum network, but yeah, obviously like the biggest issue now, especially for new people involved, is just gas fees. And like we love the Engine network and the Ethereum network, but it's just like right now it's not really accessible to a lot of new people that want to get in when they're big hits. Like when they're big hits in the market right now, gas goes to 200 and people have to pay a lot
Yeah.
of money to do stuff. So yeah, it definitely seems like it's, I mean, it was a good bet because especially if you're just testing it out, it's nice to do it a lot more risk free, I guess, with the transactions fees being pretty much free.
Yeah. I mean, I also looked at OpenSea and different ones for when I was doing my initial collection. But then we stumbled across Wax and Atomic Hub through Alien Worlds, and I don't know. I feel like Wax just has more of that trading card collector NFT feel, whereas you have OpenSea and these other ones where it's just like it's art. Like I mean, I'm not taking anything away from it. It's just they're just pieces of art, and that's completely fine for what it is. Um, but I like Atomic Hub. You have the packs, you have pack openings, you have this, and it's just it's so much more interactive. I find.
Yeah.
It takes away some barriers for creators as well, right? Because it's pretty cheap to roll out your projects, and you can take a little bit more risk with that.
Yeah. And
Yeah, yeah. I
I
mean,
think it's also,
especially.
oh, go
Sorry, I was
ahead,
gonna
Des.
say, especially when you're minting, thousands of cards or hundreds of thousands of cards. Um,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
to do that on Ethereum would cost you hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, and it also gives you more flexibility with pricing too, right? Since like you don't have to accommodate gas fees and such, especially if you're selling packs of stuff to new players, you don't have to worry about pricing something $30 higher because you know that you're gonna have to supplement the gas fees for yourself, right? Like Feds, you did that recently with your own stuff, right?
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
so yeah, it's awesome. So let's get on to Eleblob since that's what I mean that's where I first learned about you and the network as well. Um, what did you find with like season one packs and stuff and how that was going, and do you plan on doing anything different for the rollout of the season two Eleblobs?
So we introduced the season one or Genesis packs. Funny story is the only reason those elemental juicer packs exist is because there was a little bit of a mistake on my part creating the first packs. But this was before Nifty blocks, so I had to manually create these packs and go on the back end on blocks and do it.
Hmm.
So we left out the water vials, which are 100% necessary to evolve a water
Ah,
Ellie
Yeah.
blob. So what we did to kind of fix it, so like we already had to patch the game within like 1 day of release because there was just no way to evolve the blobs. So first change would just be not mess up. Second change would be definitely use Nifty blocks
Yeah.
because it's just a little bit better. We'd like to hold out until Nifty blocks has some type of pre-minted pack available.
Yeah.
Because I know that they're saying that they're going to do that. So I'd prefer, some type of pre-mint. I want to keep some of the similar like items in there. So I'd love to keep the base materials and just kind of give those base materials more utility. So instead of like a charred bone and two charred bones making a burn matter, maybe have an ore and a fish make a swamp matter, and then that'll be how it goes up. So now there's four
Right.
recipes for each base material. So the ways, and I'll just kind of explain how the original packs were set up. It's four base materials, vials, an Ellie blob, and then a lucky roll. Um, and the one thing that I will recommend if anybody ever makes packs that are not pre-minted though, absolutely add like a super rare chance. Like I think the fact that we put the shiny Ellie blob in the pack kept them selling because there's just that super
Yeah.
off chance. There's only 8 that exist right now. So and one of the whole chains of shiny Ellie blobs like has not even been found. So there's still a mint one after 10,000 packs sold, and about 70% of them opened at this point. So I think that keeps them selling. So I continue that into the next version, for sure. Base materials, not mess up the first round, and yeah, we want to do combination Ellie blobs for the next one. So keep the same style of art and probably do a
Is,
pre-minted pack.
is there any plan? I know this is sort of maybe jumping a little bit too far ahead, but for Elieblobs in Immersys, where you may have a zone or something where you can, use them a little bit more with either training or this, maybe get some charred bones here and there.
Yeah, so we're thinking about NFTs. We don't know how we can really do NFTs yet. That'll probably require like some type of on-chain action in order to issue it through the smart contract. So
Right.
that might not be the first thing that we do, but I think, it would be cool to almost have like a Pokemon like grass area where you're running around and you just find random Ellie blobs to battle, you know what I mean? And then we
Yeah.
can in the game keep track of your stats for those Ellie blobs, and you can kind of
Yeah.
we could just basically make a Pokemon universe section, and then say if you're holding, maybe we can release like a NFT that's the access token to that area or that game or that like
Right. Right.
additional game. Essentially, you can go in there, play with your Ellie blobs, level them up, and then now in that area they kind of have different stats than in maybe the main
Yeah.
hub. But yeah, absolutely, that would be really cool to do, and I'm sure we'll do it now that you suggested it. I mean, that's the cool part about it is we're so early on, and there's not a ton of collections, so we can start building a ton of value to those early collections. Like the first ones that are in here are obviously going to get the most like love in a way. Like they were our first people that supported
Yeah.
us. They were first
Yeah.
person that submitted the app, so we'll try and make mini games for their collections, and just across the board, any
Yeah.
collection that in there that eventually comes in there, we want to add value to it.
Yeah, and
Awesome.
going back to like the Eleblob and the packs, it's really cool because you have like the Pokemon aspect of like you have these guys that can evolve, and it's like it's cool because it's like I mean you open a pack of Pokemon cards and the card you get is the card you get. You're not gonna get a Charmander and expect a Charizard out of it. But the cool thing is like with these blends and evolving and all this stuff, you can get something and make it into something really cool. And like with the other stuff with the vials and stuff, kind of gives you like a kind of like an MMORPG vibe where it's like you can make things and like there are formulas to it, which I think our plan is doing as well, which is really cool. And I like this like it's not even a trend yet because it's like it's not really been it hasn't really been done a lot yet of just like creating new items based on different formulas and stuff. And
Yeah.
I think people are really gonna start to like that, I think, and get onto that.
Yeah, so
Um
so
yeah,
I love that you said it was like MMO-ish, because the original Ellie Blob, like I wanted to combine like Pokemon. I played RuneScape growing up, so I love
exactly.
RuneScape and stuff
Yeah.
like
Exactly what
that.
I was
Yeah,
thinking.
so the whole if you play the old game, which is available on elliblob.com, it's straight up just like a 8-bit game where you go and gather resources. They're on a timer. They spawn back. You can battle like monsters, and then you have to like take them to like a furnace and like smelt your ore to get like the matter back, and then you actually have to kill monsters to get the vials. So that was the really cool part, is we were able to design the packs off of an already built 2D game. So that's why there's that flow, and just from my experience playing other MMOs and stuff like that, it all made sense at the end.
Yeah, and like people love that stuff. Like me and Ruthless specifically like played a lot of RuneScape as recently as like I stopped playing like maybe 2 months ago, 3 months ago before NFT gaming. So
You
it's
Yeah,
never
it's
like
a long
stop.
game.
You never stop playing
You
that's the
never
RuneScape.
thing.
stop playing.
Rune,
I got an
Rune,
Iron Man that's like maxed out. Like
oh nice.
I'm ridiculous. Yeah.
Nice. I have a 1900 total one that I was playing up until pretty much I started playing Lost Relics and stuff. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's really cool because that's the thing is like I think something people overlook when they're making projects is like it's really cool to have like a really well done one-dimensional thing that people can do, right? Like you have a shooter, you play, you go in, you play competitive matches. But the really cool thing that I think something like RuneScape captures is like you have a whole world where you can spend 200 hours doing one action and you'll still have fun. Whereas like that's why I like this idea so much, is because you're trying to make it more than just like, oh yeah, you have the packs and you evolve. It's like no, you have the packs, you can evolve them, you can make different things and use different formulas. You can and you're gonna be able to use this in this entire like immersive world of Immersys, which is I find really cool.
Yeah. And
Um,
that's kind of the
yeah.
mindset I go into in Immersis, like as far as game design recommendations and stuff like that. RuneScape's always somewhere being influencing, like is influencing my decisions on what we put in there. So like I like that because it excites me. It brings me back to like my kid when we pull up the client and the music starts playing and all that. So
That
Oh,
like classic like da,
yeah,
da,
it gives me
yeah.
like honestly gives it's kind
the
of
little
it
flames that change color. It's
gives me
Yeah, this is
goosebumps
like a
playing on
RuneScape
browser.
private server just with NFTs at this point.
Can't wait to
Yeah,
take Fedzy to the duel arena and stake some NFTs in my Eleblob.
That
yeah,
would be no,
Yeah,
that would be cool. No, that's
yeah.
yeah, it gives me
Yeah,
vibes
yeah.
to when I'm like in grade 4 with the browser open on my slow computer on my Pentium 4. But
Well, I
yeah,
mean, it also gives you a little like if I guess we'll go there. Like if you do some sort of arena battle, um, it gives those other NFTs that may not really be in the environment that like it won't really integrate into the environment that well. So you can still have like these NFTs that you're like, okay, like let's gamble them or let's stake them and fight my Ellie blobs, and then it has a utility, right? So it has that like small utility where it may not fit into the game as like an actual item, but it's still there as
that'd be
a
nuts.
stakeable item.
Like a little sand casino.
yeah.
I'd be stayed away from that.
Yeah. No, I think it'll be cool. I mean, we're already seeing like creators that even got in from the beginning. Like they'll have an NFT right now that's maybe like a static NFT that really just sitting in the wallet doesn't do anything. But they outside of their original thing, they kind of went back on that NFT, designed like a walking and idle animation and stuff like that. So I think we'll see more like collectors do certain things and come up with certain recommendations for their collections that can add that additional value just inside of Immersys. Not I mean, the wax community is like a lot of artists. There's obviously developers in there, but they can't always add that additional utility, and that's where we kind of come in and be able to give them more, and boost up
Yeah.
their collections.
So
Yeah,
And
with
now
no,
with that being said, when you guys are onboarding new collections into your metaverse, how does that look on the back end? Does the creator have a lot of say into how that's going to integrate and what the use will be in your world?
Yeah, so right now, we have a form that you fill out. So they have like an exclusive like back end form that we send out to them where they're putting in recommendations for their NFTs that they're uploading. In the beginning, it was a lot of like sprays, stickers. Like they want to kind of be like the Overwatch, where you're like, you can spray like that particular character's logo or particular stickers on the ground. We want to kind of add some of them as like emotes. Magenta wanted the walking 2D character following around, so we have that in there. Eleblob, like we just made an app for Eleblob, so that's like a
yeah.
pixel monster becoming a battle game that gets to play out in front of everybody in the world.
Yeah,
Like,
I love that. When
yeah,
I thought I was like in my head when I saw you were like, hey, like you were like it's generating, the battle's generating. I'm like, please, please, please let us all see it at the same time. Like, don't have it like just them watching. And they
yep,
popped up, and I was like, yes, like that's
yep.
so sick.
You
It's a
can now
little
have an
auto.
audience cheering you
Yeah,
on.
it's so
Right?
cool.
You
It's
see,
so cool.
as soon as that first battle happened, you saw everybody just run over and just like
Yeah,
Yep.
stand
Yep.
around it and watch the battle happen. Yeah, like, and then that's another awesome example. Like, so we want to bring people kind of around the NFT to show them
yeah,
off and build that value. So like Exit Limbo's music NFT, like we want to
yeah,
have almost like an area of effects, so like an audio visual, like on the ground, kind of like going outward to like show that that's a music NFT. So that any other music NFT that comes in, when it's spawned out there that you want to get close to it to listen to it. So that was like something that Exit Limbo, recommended. So we could just, I mean, anything that people recommend, we're gonna try and put it in there the best that we can. So yeah, when you're a creator, you get to suggest what you want for your collection.
oh, that's awesome. So let's go back to more specifically about LA Blobs for a bit, and I
Yeah.
want to talk about the bounty reward program that you have in place, which I find is really cool. Can you explain to our viewers who aren't familiar with LA Blobs and the bounties, how they currently work, and maybe if you expect them to change in the future, how you expect to change the reward program over time?
Yeah, so Eleblob bounty was really like a way to, in the beginning, we weren't really seeing like secondary movement of it. We weren't seeing anybody, like the packs weren't selling out. So we decided that the way that we can kind of create some interaction and people selling and trading resources some more was to introduce Eleblob bounties. Another reason that we really wanted to implement Eleblob bounties is because when you created the non-pre-minted packs, none of your Eleblobs have a max supply. So we wanted to create a max supply or max mint of all of our Eleblobs to make them a little bit more collectible in a way. So it was our way of having you hold a blob, we give you, you know, almost like a trophy of the Eleblob that's now got a max mint. You know, there's a max supply. We want to go through all of them. We kind of randomly pick a different element each week, and then we're going to try and get through all 28 of them. If you have a shiny Eleblob, you get a shiny, you know, reward. So they're like one of ones. So, you know, we have those super rare bounty ones. But yeah, the reward system is just a way to reward people. We probably need to up the pools, but before, like when Eleblobs were a little bit cheaper, you know, it made sense to have like 1,000 wax pool or like 600 wax pool. But you know, we may have to look into bumping up the prize pool a little bit more. But yeah, so it was a way for us to reward people that were holding the Eleblobs, leveling up the Eleblobs, because sometimes like the bounty would be a higher level one. We somehow have gotten a little lucky, and it's just been the second evolution of Eleblob. So it's not been too hard to achieve. But you know, when it was a higher one, like you'd see a lot of supplies moving on the secondary market because people trying to get it because there's limited resources. So it added value for the collectors. And you know, we're trying to come up with ideas for the starter blobs too. Like we were thinking, one of our community members, Noodles, recommended like a Bob box because our main character is Eleblob Bob. It was like a boomer bust box where you basically will, you know, burn your Eleblob, your starter Eleblob, for a chance at like another super rare chance at a shiny Eleblob.
Oh, dude, that.
Because yeah,
I
yeah.
love that idea.
Yeah, so we want to. I mean, we're pretty good at adding like value to collections at this point. Like, I think we have a pretty good understanding of like what people want, and we have a pretty good understanding of how to make those more valuable for people. So yeah, I mean, Eleblob, it will always kind of be that special like baby that we created right in the beginning of the space. So it'll always get that special treatment. We kind of want it to exist as this like, you know, like just that original base set, just like
Yeah.
super immaculate, just not really mess with it too much outside of it, even with all its quirks and stuff, like with the Genesis packs not having water vials. Like, just I liked everything about it. It's just, you know, the bounties adds, you know, just more utility to it.
Will the bounties ever maybe have a special sprite in game?
Yeah, so I think once we start, you know, I mean, Ellie Bob will get everything in there.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, I know you have probably thousands of ideas.
yeah, so of course the bounty rewards will have special, you know, if we create like a trophy room for the player owned houses and stuff like that, like,
Ah,
you know, you'll get that
player-owned
in there.
houses.
Player own house. I like that. It's the POH portal in the
The
middle of it.
POH, yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
So
Um,
yeah, I
Can
guess
I back up to the Eleblob Bob
yeah,
story? Like, what's that, and how does that play into it? I've seen those collectibles on the Atomic Hub. I've grabbed a few of them. I
Yeah.
don't understand it though. I don't know where it came from.
So he's so Ellie Blob Bob is actually the Ash Ketchum in the world in a way. So he's the main
Okay.
character. So
okay.
you know, I kind of took on the persona of Ellie Blob Bob like when we first started releasing the collection, just because it was
Mm.
just funny and the community kind of created it. So I was running with the name Ellie Blob Bob for the longest time, and that's just our main character. So I ran with the avatar of him and everything like that. But yeah, so he was just the guy that collected the bobs in the 2D game.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Interesting. I was gonna ask that as well because I'm pretty sure I've seen those in Ruthless's wallet before.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
he's got like a one of one collection that of him doing like the resources and stuff.
Mm.
We'll auction them off occasionally. They come out very rarely, but yeah, we're that's his little claim to fame. Is he's the guy that collects the blobs.
That's awesome. So let's move on. Oh, Kefeds,
I
you
I
got
was
some.
gonna steal your thoughts there. Let's move on to what Immersys there, because I
Yeah,
know we hit
let's
some interesting points.
yeah, I mean, because at the end of the day, like the really cool implementation of the Eleblob I see at least is when you're gonna be able to play Immersis and have these as like your little kind of creatures following you around, and as we're all theorizing, battling, and having all these really cool integrations. So, uh, for people that don't know what Immersis is, could you give like a little rundown? And then I have some follow-up questions.
Yeah, so Immersys is the Wax NFT metaverse. That's our goal. We really want to have every single NFT that's ever created on the Wax blockchain in Immersys. So the way that Immersys works is we're creating a sense of digital ownership that's pretty familiar to the average gamer. So every single NFT becomes a in-game item that you can interact with, can have its own special games associated with them. You can showcase to others, and eventually we'd like you to be able to like trade, sell, buy everything that you can possibly do with an NFT right now with inside of Immersys. We want it to be, not only a social game, like a social multiplayer game. We want it to have its own, in-game economy, and then eventually, player-owned land and development, like develop this almost player. I mean, everybody says it, but like this player one society, and it's compatible, with desktop and VR. So
Mhm.
we really wanted to just be like eventually just all VR once VR becomes like, super
The thing.
mainstream. Yeah. And everybody's just hopping in, putting on their headset, going, immersing
Just
themselves in Immersis and being able to interact with these items that they can't, that they can take outside of our game and sell on a secondary market.
Yeah, and that's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like Oasis from Ready Player One. It's like that's what the goal is, and that's like,
uh,
I mean, that's the dream, right? And we're talking about VR implementation. It's like, I mean, it's not a luxury anymore because now you don't need a gaming PC. Like you have stuff like the Quest 2 where you don't need anything. You can just have your open space and you're good to go. Um, so talking about VR implementation, I know users can use, as you said, VR device in Immersys. How does how does VR usage differ from the desktop client in Immersys? And what functions do you plan on adding to make the VR experience more immersive in Immersys?
Yeah, so first off, I mean, you're able to interact with items a lot differently. So you're able to pick up items, move them around, like you can, it's just a whole different experience. There is some limitations just due to the fact that the Quest, which is like the most popular one out in the market, obviously, is it's owned by Facebook, so they don't really allow for the deep linking. So it kind of hurts our case for creating, this deep link in so that we can trigger, wax and allow us to do or initiate any kind of smart contract stuff on VR. Until we figure that out, it's going to be limited support, but not totally limited support since you can kind of do more in it because you can
Yeah.
interact with objects a little bit more. So it's this weird like balancing act where we want the VR to be, accessible, fun, playable, but we got to find solutions to some of the bigger issues where Facebook just does not allow us to do some of the things that desktop does, and that's why we released the desktop first, is because that's the one that we can bring in, pull the API database, and get your Eleblobs in there. But for VR, we can't really do that yet, and until we find a solution for it, or I think it's not even really us. It's until Facebook changes how they handle things, then we can see more of like a full circle of you can do exactly what you can do in desktop in VR as well. But
right.
yeah, I mean, immediately, I mean, we want to be consistently releasing builds for VR so that you can play on it, put on your headset. Right now, it's only like the desktop version, so you'll need a link cable for Quest 2. But yeah, I mean, it's a whole different experience. It feels very cool to be in the VR headset, being able to move your head around and seeing everybody walk around you and stuff like
The
that.
Eleblob just
Yeah,
the especially like the I think it was a sixth or seventh evolution.
Interesting. I have a question. So you say you need a desktop. Is that you said you need access to your PC?
correct. So you'll need the link cable for like a desktop version of the VR application.
There is actually, I don't know if you're aware of this or if this works, there is an app called Virtual Desktop that's usable on Quest 2 that I have. So all the stuff that I want to use on desktop, I usually use
Interesting.
on there. Is something like that. Have you experimented with something like that?
We haven't, so we can look into that and see if that kind of gets around it. I'm wondering, like, does the desktop application allow you to download like a program on? Like, I guess I don't understand that part of it.
It
But
basically gives you remote access to your computer.
oh,
So I've used I bought it because I bought a Quest 2 with small amount of storage, and I know a lot of people do that because it's a little bit cheaper. And I keep all my VR games and all my games on my computer, and then I just go to my living room since there's more space there and try it. So I
yeah,
guess yeah, that'd be
that'd be
cool
really
if that
cool to
works.
look into.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm gonna download it. I got my Quest right next to me, so I might
I
as
think
well
it's like
try it.
I think it's like
Uh,
$20 or something.
Yeah.
I think something like that. So let's move on. I think I mean, I was talking to Ruthless before this, and I think he was really, really interested in regarding the land. So I think he has a
Yeah.
good
So,
question for that.
Yes.
yeah,
Land.
I just want you to tell us more about the land sale, and obviously that's going to lead into the blueprints, and that's something that I'm highly interested in. So, if you talk about that.
Yeah, so you kind of have a hint that there's more outside of the that central plaza area. So Immersys is going to own these six main districts around this central hub, and inside of these districts are going to be Immersys owned plots, and these are going to be example plots of what will eventually become player owned land plots outside of that area. So what we're going to be doing in those areas is basically showing you not only a plot but a blueprint NFT. So these blueprint NFTs are going to act as the almost like the building blocks for a player-owned house or a player-owned like store or player-owned, any kind of like anything that we can possibly think of. Will eventually have like maybe even venue places because we're going to have an entertainment district. So there'll be a blueprint to create a stage on your player-owned land eventually, where you can host events there. So people would be coming out to your land, watching it, watching any kind of events. Or say you have like an e-commerce website, or you have just an atomic hub drop or something like
Right.
that. We're going to make very specific, very like intentionally built uh, you know, 3D buildings where when the user in Immersis goes into a building, it's designed to function properly for the type of product that you're trying to sell or the type of event that you're trying to host. We want you to be able to have land and build these NFTs on it. So yeah, I mean, we're going to come up with a bunch of different ways. I think the big thing for land though is being able to generate that passive income. I think that's where a lot of the interest comes in it in this space.
Yeah.
You're seeing in our planet Alien Worlds, you're renting out or allowing people to mine on your land, or you're just passively just generating a token right off of that's going to eventually be used for robots. But yeah, I mean there's plans to essentially make that land valuable for the owner to have, whether it's them renting out, shops. So it almost like you kind of need the two things. So you're selling out your plots that people can rent, that they can build on. The land's going to be pretty scarce, so not everybody's going to be able to own it. So the people that do own it are going to be able to rent that out and make money in hollow
So
coin, most likely.
so I guess it's just in a situation. You have a piece of land, and then you have houses. How like just a hut blueprint or whatever.
Yeah,
I put 10 huts on my land or whatever it is, and then someone could be like, I want to rent your house, and I'm gonna put my NFTs in there,
correct.
and now you have a house on my land, and
Yes, yep. So then
yeah,
you have your plot
that's
of
cool.
land there. So say you almost want like a food stand or something like
Yeah,
that, where you're just, I mean, you sell food NFTs and
Freaky food stands.
freaky
yeah,
foods.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing. It just reminds me so much of like we're talking about like obviously there's a lot of implementation with lands now. We have like obviously Sandbox, Decentraland, Our Planet, Alien Worlds, but it's like to me all this like we go back to RuneScape. It just reminds me of like player owned housing. You go to the house party world, and it's like World 30 or 330 depending on when you play it, and it's like no one's really like you're not really getting passive income, but people tip you and stuff, and it's kind of the same idea. Instead of people
Yeah.
going out of their way to tip you, you're getting passive income because you have the land by the game developers, and it's really cool.
Yeah. So that's it kind of. So we want to be creating a game where you have to go to other places, like you have to go to other people's places, sort of like a gilded altar in a way, where you have to
Yeah.
find the best altar to go bury the bone or sacrifice the bones. I mean,
Yeah.
we want to create that kind of feel where you don't want to use our Immersis player owned stuff or Immersis owned stuff because the fees are going to be super high. It's just not it's not worth it doing it in our area. That's good for like people that are just getting into the game and they need to kind of learn the ropes and
Right.
test out things. But we're kind of aiming on high fees, showcasing and just like renting spots in our area, and then focusing on trying to draw people out for the cheaper, more unique, like almost like branded
Right.
land where it's out there and they can do whatever they want with it.
Very, very cool.
So, so are we going to get any teasers to these districts maybe during this beta phase? I'm just really excited.
So Yeah, so in beta, the main phase that we'd like to get out in beta, it may not be closed beta at that point, but in beta would be the marketplace. We want to
Yeah.
show off the ability to purchase, anything technically. IRL items or like VIRL or just NFTs or something just cosmetic with inside of the Immersys metaverse. We want to be able to showcase that. So Market District would probably be the first. Next one would probably be like an entertainment event venue. It may be more of like a museum, like one before it. So we kind of have like an art, entertainment, marketplace, and then I'll leave the rest for a little later.
Casino.
But yeah, casinos. But yeah, but
Yeah.
to be honest, like something like that where it's a little bit maybe it's entertainment, but more of like a riskier entertainment.
You could do
Uh,
pinball
thing.
machines or like an arcade room.
Yeah, there could be like a working district. So eventually, when we start really seeing like ways to almost have a job inside of Immersys,
Wow.
having office buildings inside of that space where people can kind of go in there and like say you just need to do some work for somebody, you can go in there, collaborate like with somebody else or another team. Almost have like the virtual offices that we kind of originally started with for Immersys and conduct work in there. But yeah.
Immersys Wall Street.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah,
Oof.
no,
Yeah. You'll
it's
go in
so
there and have a whole like
People are
decks
buying
in there.
NFTs.
Yeah.
it's
Sell
so
that collection, buy that.
Yeah.
the exciting thing to me is that I feel like a lot of the time you have these things launch and it has a really cool concept and it's like the devs don't really know where they're going with it and it's kind of just like, oh, we'll see as we go, but it sounds awesome because you obviously have a very thought out plan on where you want this to go and a vision, as well as, I mean, I love the background that you have with all this, with like being a gamer yourself and knowing what you would want in the game, and I feel like that's really, really important. Is there anything kind of on the same thing that on the same type of thing that Ruthless was talking about? Is there anything specific you want to add during the beta to try to test out and see what people think? Like maybe like something you're not so sure about?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think there's a lot of things. I mean, I don't even know if we can pinpoint one thing. Like, I think a lot of it does come with just automation of like NFT issuing. Like, we want it to be like we just want events going on. We want you to be doing small like weekly events, like kind of like weekly updates in a way where you are coming back in because something's going on and just testing what we can do to make that happen. There's like we can make a lot change in a week, and that's the exciting part is like from one week to the next. So technically what you're seeing and what you experienced was 2 weeks of work, kind of bundled into like we kind of created all these assets and stuff. It was all kind of quick. So that was 2 weeks. And if you saw some of the beginning photos, like it was literally just like this space land thing like floating in like this like skybox basically, and that's all it was. And now you have this full environment where there's buildings around, you can go into different sections of the city.
Yeah.
We want to showcase like the fact that you can venture out a lot more in beta. Like we want to add areas that you can explore pretty quickly. That will obviously we want to reward you in NFTs in the space. So those that are holding the beta key can explore the areas that we're creating and constantly rewarding with NFTs from there. But yeah, I think we're trying to find events, things that people can do to come in here, like if it's something like a podcast, if you guys maybe hold a podcast inside of Immersys, like things like that. We want to like constantly have events going on and planned to bring people in. um, Everything's technically going to be like a test in a way, like we're going to see if it works, and if it doesn't work, then we're going to probably have to scrap it. But there's nothing like right now. It's bug fixes and making the quality of life updates that'll make it a lot easier for users to figure out. Like I knew we were having issues spawning the blobs and stuff like that, so like it's just not clear that you have to move the tablet down. We want to make
Yeah.
so a lot of the focus right now, I think, in the first week is just cleaning it up to make it more enjoyable for the player. But then beyond that, it will be just testing and seeing what works and what people want.
So it is I guess the end goal, Immersive will have a play to earn aspect.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I
I
guess
wouldn't
through the
make it
coins
without.
and
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I
Okay,
And
would not
that's
make
very
it
cool.
without that in mind.
I think
Yeah,
one thing you mentioned that I really like is you talk about implementing things and then being okay with taking it out. And I think that type of flexibility is important. Like not being set, like having an idea, and if people don't like it, being like, okay, we're gonna try something differently. I think that's really, really important. So I like that a lot.
yeah,
And
So that
yeah.
that's a big thing why we're not really like putting in hollow coin right away, like the tokens all created and everything
yeah,
like that. But like we want to make sure that we have a full plan when we roll it out, because it's supposed to be this utility token. We don't want to just be giving it out and just there not be that utility
yeah.
inside the game. So we almost are treating this like showcasing phase, this arrival phase of Immersys as this like, hey, let's put anything and everything that we can kind of put in here, see what works, what doesn't work. If it doesn't work, take it out. If it works, see how we can improve it and make it better. And more fun, and something that really keeps people coming back in. And then if we can figure out ways to keep people coming back in and interacting with certain things that we put in there, then we could be
Mm,
like, oh, okay, maybe this is good to like investigate how we can maybe put hollow coin into that. Like how can you maybe earn hollow coin from doing that particular activity, or interacting with
right.
your NFTs in that kind of way. um, so yeah, I mean, this phase, like before, like the economy is like when I think things become a little bit more permanent, and we want to make sure that in this like first phase we're testing out, okay, what works, what doesn't work, before we put the economy in there.
Right. That makes sense.
Cool. Yeah. No, it's nice because like you have the chance to do this like big stress test where everything's kind of just like at a trial and error, right? And that's like what a beta test about. And even like when the game comes out, it's gonna be like that too, I'm sure. Or like the world comes out, it's
Yeah,
gonna be, you put something in, people are like, oh, I'm not this. I hope this is better. And then that's the great thing about a beta is it's kind of like everyone's early, community small enough where that the at least a lot of the feedback you're getting is thoughtful and engaging. Because I mean, if we're looking at it this way, like I think people are well aware of how much the keys cost in the secondary market right now. So for the people to have the keys and not be selling them right now means that there is a commitment to the people that they believe in this project and they want
yeah,
to be a part of it, right? Because you're looking at like pretty much like last time I looked like 4K wax on secondary market. So anyone that has them means that they value them more than that, and or they bought them at these prices. So that's why I really think like it's really awesome doing this little beta test where I think the feedback you get is going to be very, very thoughtful and engaging. And I'm sure you've received a lot of that already.
Yeah, I mean, it's impressive. Just even the one day that we've been in there, we've gotten a ton of feedback, like things that we wouldn't even think of, and that's awesome. I mean, our team's about 5 people right now, and we're bringing in like some freelancers to help with some of like the UI and stuff like that, because we basically have back end servers, and then like the Unity developer, and then we have our modelers. But yeah, so basically we want to continue to grow the team to kind of improve in that area, just make it a lot better, because it's just like we're treating it like a foundation, and we want to improve it, as
yeah.
it goes.
It was a good approach with the beta cards too, because now you have control over staggering that growth as you
Yep.
see you need it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I know they're going for a lot too. So I do want to be like, so that's where there's so discontinued items like this pizza thing, like you're in there first, so you kind of get this discontinued item after a little while if people want it, like it's a holiday item in a way. You'll notice that I keep playing on this idea, but I think RuneScape did it right in a way, and I think it shows in the fact that a really bad looking game can continue to last even into to nowadays.
Yeah.
Like we're like no longer kids anymore, and we started as kids playing this game, so just it lasted the test of time. So it'd be hard not to reference it in a lot of ways in the immersive space. We're not going to directly rip off of them, but
I was gonna say,
yeah,
so
I love hearing you say
party
that.
hats. Are we gonna have
Yeah.
party
yeah,
hats?
I
yeah,
cried when I
exactly.
stole my
Maybe,
Right.
last
hey,
hat.
if T on wax, let's get them in there. Yeah,
I
Let's
absolutely.
get
Why not?
RuneScape. Let's get
I have a
RuneScape
question.
items.
So let's say you have these limited items. Are they like, so let's say you have it limited to one per account. Is
Yes.
that like, let's say if I buy a beta key on secondary, am I still able to get it even though maybe that person who had the key previously claimed one?
So yeah, so we'll max out supplies for
Oh, okay.
events. We'll run them for a period of time, essentially. But yeah,
Cool.
so we're not gonna prevent people from getting it, but yeah, I mean you can sell that key on the secondary.
Yeah.
The goal is to not have the people that are supporting us in the beginning hold this bag, because I know a lot of people did buy them on the secondary market for extremely high prices. So that's why they're the ones that get the keys. So say you paid 3,500 wax, 4,000 wax. We're kind of expecting that second round to be 100 keys. So maybe that drops the price down to half that. So that one you can either give to a friend, or you could sell it for maybe around 1,500, 1,000 wax. It's just we're gonna keep it exclusive. We're kind of taking the approach of like Clubhouse, where it was invite only in the beginning,
Hmm.
where those invites were kind of selling for a lot, or like Hearthstone, where like the beta keys, like you wanted the beta key.
300 US.
Yeah, so they were
Yeah.
going for a lot. So
Yeah.
yeah, like the owners of the original supporters that have those original beta keys are going to get the keys to issue out, and that way they can choose to, if they want to, recoup some of the money that they spent in the beginning. So they're not holding the bag. They're also getting additional value by being inside the game. So whenever we release new things or exclusives to the closed beta, they're getting those rewarded airdrops or small event things inside of there as well. They also get 20,000 hollow coin for holding that one when hollow coin gets released. So we tried to put value in there. The equivalent of the original retail sale was $20. So it's basically our equivalent of USDT of
Mhm.
hollow coin essentially.
And
Now,
it's oh, go
oh,
ahead,
sorry, I
Feds.
was gonna say after closed beta, so you have the original 100 keys. Those are the originals. Then, from my understanding, you have a different looking version out of whatever it will be, so you can distinguish. Now, for the original 100, or for all the beta key holders, when it's released, the game's out. Is there going to be any residual airdrops, or is it, it's a beta key?
Sure,
Full
I'm
stop,
sure you'll
right?
be rewarded in a different way if it's cosmetic or something like that that can
Okay.
be actually shown
Cool.
off.
Maybe
Yeah,
we
I mean, you
test the
would
new
be.
content.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, you could. That's really a good
That's a
idea.
good
Yeah.
idea.
So any kind of pre-release that we would want to get out there and test, we'll try and have builds done 2 weeks or a week before we actually release them. So like you
Right.
can play the beginning one and kind of give us some feedback continuously for the existence of the game. I'm not saying
Yeah.
that's definite, but hey,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
a really good
Just
suggestion, and I think we should think about it. Like, I mean, there's no reason not to continue to utilize that original, key.
Yeah, I know
for
that.
sure.
That's what I know. Cliff with Lost Relics, his founder's token. It's one of the big things now is you get multiplayer access when it comes out before everyone else. So that's kind of cool.
Yep.
And I just want to touch on something you're doing, and I really appreciate is the fact I think a lot of people on the Wax network do this in general, or a lot of people making things on Wax is they try to capture the secondary market when they release stuff again. And I really appreciate the fact that you're very well aware that these keys are selling for 4,000 wax, and you could release them in staggering amounts and sell them for like 2,000, and people wouldn't blink, and people would buy them. But the fact that instead of that, you're airdropping it to reward the people who are holding these and airdropping more keys so they can give to their friends. I find, and I know Fedzi and Ruthless we've been talking about as well, find it really commendable because it's like really easy to like see the greed, and be like, oh, I can
Yeah.
get more money, but like you're obviously more focused on the player base and making sure that you're rewarding the people that supported you early, and it's really awesome to see.
Yeah, I mean, and it was intentional, so I appreciate that you're acknowledging it. I mean, because yeah, I mean, when we created the game, I mean, this is supposed to be for everybody, and we want to get everybody in there, but we also want to reward the people that got in, first. So we don't want to just open it up to everybody. We knew. I told you that we kind of thought that this would be kind of small and we can kind of keep it under the radar, maybe get 100 people in there. But, I think that shifted pretty quickly. And we knew that, okay, maybe these things are a little bit more valuable than we put them out there for. But yeah, I mean, I've been around Atomic Hub for a while. I've seen how people have approached selling, anything on there. You see people do it really wrong, like art being like thousands and thousands of mints. Like there's no reason to do that because you lose all like the value of that thing. Like there's people that release NFTs correctly. There's people that don't do it correctly. I think we're pretty good at doing it properly, and I think we have a respect for the community. We want people that really want to play to come in. Obviously, it's sometimes expensive to do that. We don't want you holding the bag, but yeah, we're gonna reward you, and the beta key is to help us. The feedback that we're going to get from those players that are holding the beta key far outweigh anything that would, that we would earn from selling them. So that's the way that we look at it is, hey, we want people to suggest, give feedback, really kind of send us in a certain direction and kind of, tell us what they want. So that kind of feedback is more valuable than us selling a key or, trying to make some money really quickly on a drop or something like that. Not to say that we won't do things like that. So for example, the giveaway is like a supporter pin. So if you, want to support the project, because I mean, we obviously have people and servers and there's a cost to do this. So we do need to, sell things for eventually, like, but yeah, right now, I mean, what we're getting from the beta key holders is so valuable that we want to continue to reward them with the airdrops and we're not gonna try and make money off of people that want to play our game.
No,
Good to
it's
hear.
How do I get one of
yeah.
these pins?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
so
people are asking.
we'll have a drop on Wednesday for like the full release of the pins. Anybody in here, you'll get a pin. So you don't worry about that. We also got the giveaway that's
Yep.
going on. So you can pick up a pin in the giveaway. I think the link's coming through chat occasionally, or if you're in the Discord.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's there.
think Yeah, so just for you guys that don't know, that we're doing a giveaway right now, sponsored by Dan and Immersys. And it's pretty much for 2 of their supporter pins. You can enter through a bunch of different ways there, and it'd be a good time to give you guys the secret code. I'm going to type it in chat right now for extra entries. It is shiny in all caps because everyone likes shiny things. It's going to end at, I believe, 11:59 EST on Wednesday of this week. So make sure you enter nice before it's over. But yeah, I mean, everyone loves free stuff. So make sure you enter, show your friends and stuff, and check out Immersys itself and follow the project because it's gonna be sweet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I mean,
the
sorry.
pin's going to be our first attempt at showing you how like an NFT can be a wearable item. So, we have access, we have, spawning, showcasing, but then let's customize your avatar with NFTs too. So the supporter pin's just going to be that badge of honor that kind of signifies like, hey, I was an original supporter of the project and I get to kind of wear my pin around, and then it helps us pay for any bills that we got going. Because they're piling up at this point. But yeah, so it's a cool little drop. It's just the first one, and there'll be plenty of them. The weird thing that we're having to do with it is because we have to pull the API to pull the assets in. We will soon eventually have thousands and thousands of items. So I don't know if Atomic Hub's gonna like it, but we are creating multiple collections. So most people can get away with like multiple schemas. We're
Mhm.
having to create multiple collections to represent different parts of the game. So there'll be like an apps.immersis, there'll be a
Right.
style.immersis, there'll be a land.immersis, and then you'll have your building schemas and all that. So we'll probably take over their homepage at some point, but
So you
oh well.
when you say drop, I assume you mean like on Atomic Hub, right?
Yeah, there'll be a drop on Atomic Hub
Great.
as far as a sale. Yeah, on Wednesday.
Okay.
Awesome. We're really really looking forward to that for sure.
Oh yeah.
Uh, Yeah, no, I think this is great. Honestly, like I wasn't. I think a lot of us in the group weren't like super aware of Immersys. So like Ruthless showed it to us, and like we were watching the beta stuff yesterday, and just like the potential. And I really like how it's like, even though obviously it's a beta and it's not the most filled in, it seems like you're leaving a lot of room to fill things inwards. So it's like you have a
Yeah.
lot of room. So I think I mean, I'm gonna keep watching them because I remember Ruthless last night, maybe 5 hours after he got into the key or he got into the beta the first time. He comes in, he's like, "Oh, this wasn't here before,"
Yeah.
and it's like, "So are you just gonna be like dropping things in as like
So
without
we
telling
can.
people?" Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Oh,
So we can
awesome.
we can do that. There's small things that we can update on the fly, like
Yeah.
so we can get them in there. Sometimes it needs the entire build to get it in, but
Dan, there
yeah.
was one thing that you didn't touch too much on that I think is super important, and the fact that you're allowing developers to now make almost like mini apps within your tablet. Is that correct?
Correct. So
That's
the
Oh,
super.
tablet acts like a smartphone. So say you design an app that works inside Unity, we can take that code and put it in there and design an app for any type of collection where you'll go into our app store on our virtual tablet, download the app or the game or whatever it is right to your tablet, and then you can initiate it. So that was what the Eleblob Arena was supposed to kind
Yeah.
of show off is like, hey, I can go to the App Store. There's a game called Eleblob Arena. I'm going to download this to my virtual tablet. And then now, because I have that app downloaded, I can play that with other people. So yeah, I mean, other creators can design, or game developers can come up with these applications that they can put in our Immersys app store, and then anybody that has the tablet can go in there and download it.
That's
Awesome.
awesome.
And
Was there? I was
Feds,
gonna
go ahead.
say, was there anything you wanted to maybe touch on that we didn't get to that
Yeah, like
To
you
be
any
probably
honest,
felt
I'd
some?
love to see. I'd love to hear Fedsy's and Ruthless's impression, like just their first, like when they got in there, like where was the issues, like what did you like, what did you not like, that
Uh,
kind of stuff.
Well, we're both desktop, so that's like a disclaimer. We're not VR.
Yeah,
But still, like when we jumped in and we were just like standing there and all these LED blobs started popping in, it kind of like really felt like a game. Like people were standing around talking and the mute button was a little it wasn't working. But it was really cool. And then you had the little, you were like, find the pizza. And it took me a little while. Like it was such a small area. I was like, where the hell is this thing? And then eventually found it. I'm expecting, I hope that there's going to be more puzzle things in the future. Just the whole game life. I mean, especially for exploration within the universe. And again, like the Ellie Blob Arena was right on, right, like it nailed it. Like I wanted it to be there, and I saw it, and it was there, and I was like, perfect. That's perfect. Obviously,
awesome.
it's brand new, but I think it's gonna be awesome. Yeah.
I think for me, when I hopped in, the first thing I noticed was how smooth everything ran. I was able to jump, run, sprint, like it was very smooth. And I think one of the really cool things was I was walking along the landscape and I came across this little circle sticker and I walked up to it and it started playing music and I felt like I was in
Yes.
a club. And then everybody else started to come around and we were listening to this little NFT play this music. It was sweet. And then again with the I don't want to talk too much about the pizza. I don't want to give it away, but it was really sweet how you had it. Like you find it, and then you have to interact with the tablet and the apps within the tablet in order to solve the riddle, kind of to get the pizza reward. Right. I
Yeah,
thought
Oh
that was super clever.
yeah, I didn't even know there was that on tablet, and I was like, oh, like I gotta do it IRL. I'm like, wait, well, I was looking through the tablet. I'm like, okay, I figured it out now. Um,
You're
but
probably
yeah,
freaking out. You're probably like, "Where's
oh,
the pizza? Where's
It's
the
like
pizza?"
where's
yeah,
my
oh,
pizza?
like
Why
an
it's not
8-digit
working?
number.
I
Yeah,
love. I'm like a sucker for seasonal events. I like World of Warcraft. I played years and years. Every event in any game, I like the event rewards. I don't know why. It's just a collector's thing. So I had to get it, and I thought it was gonna be like maybe out of 5 or something. So like I just
I mean, it
wanted it
makes
really, really, really as
makes
fast as I
sense.
can.
Like all of us are like these, like we all collect graded stuff.
Yeah.
Edsy has a bunch of cool stuff behind him. If you, I don't know if you moved it.
I didn't set it up today. I got Game
Okay.
Boys and sealed Game Boy games and
But yeah,
stuff
so
and
I really
Pokemon.
like that, like the idea of like the virtual collectible. I mean that's why we're all here, right? Like it's the
yeah,
NFTs, it's owning your own stuff, and it's like the fact that you're airdropping these things and you're making it kind of like a,
Oh
find
yeah.
it instead of here you go. It's really cool. I mean, here you go is sometimes nice, but putting a
There's
little bit
and
of mystery.
there's
yeah.
so many things I'm excited for. Like just having Eleblob tournaments would be really cool. And like the first person gets a shiny or a custom Eleblob with a championship belt or something. You know what I mean? Like
Uh,
there's so
Yeah.
many. It's just so sick. It's
that'd be
really really
cool.
cool.
King of the
Like
Hills, yeah,
that
all kinds of things.
that'd be cool. Like challenges. It's like win 100 battles with your alley blob, and he has like a bronze belt or
Yeah,
something.
and then you get a
1,000.
new one.
An
Ah,
Ellie Bob racetrack. You get your Ellie Bob in a car. You race them around a little racetrack on the land. There's so many
uh,
possibilities.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many possibilities. Soon you'll be able to like have an NFT and get in a car and drive around. So
Yeah.
Oh,
it'll
I
be
got to
cool.
start making car NFTs for Immersys.
Yeah,
Where's my
exactly.
Lambo?
Yeah,
oh yeah.
Lambos and just have a little go-kart track.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So yeah, I mean, if there's nothing else you want to really hit on, I know we're closing in on time there, but yeah, I'll leave it to you. I'll leave the stage to you. Maybe you want to take some quick questions from Twitch and just fire
Yeah,
them off.
let's see what we got in here. So
I know.
Rax asked who won the first Ellie Blob battle. It wasn't me.
Wha-
It was
no.
Rax. Uh
There was previously mentioned about jobs and careers. Wondering what you had in mind for this.
yeah, so I think obviously there's a business in NFTs. So, if it's, somebody comes in and like works on creating an NFT, maybe you have like a job posting where you want a commission done and somebody can come in there, see that job posting and basically be hired to create that NFT for somebody. And then that NFT ends up inside of Immersys. Like that's considered like a
Okay.
job to me. So things like that where, maybe people have these requests or these open like contract work essentially inside of Immersys eventually where they want people to build things for them so that they can maybe put it on their player owned land or it obviously has to pass our checks and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a potential for jobs inside of the space
Yeah.
just because of the like how it works. I mean, it's just such a massive universe. It's just it will eventually be a massive universe. So there's just so many things that could be made and should be made, and I think there will be businesses made inside of it. So it's hard to predict exactly what's going to happen, but something like that where you can go in there, see a job posting, and get hired to do it inside of that space.
Really, really cool.
Awesome.
I think we have some more here. This is about just casino or chance-based actions in the game. Um, anything kind of, is it too
Yeah, we
early
want to.
or you
I
know?
think before we start, doing gambling type stuff, we want to make sure it's all legal and and
Yeah, of
and
course.
possible. So I don't think it'll be an issue as long as it's a game token. Like we should be able to do some more things like that. It's just something that we need to kind of nail down before we totally confirm it. Hey, it's coming out and you can gamble,
Obviously,
play
it's
poker right inside of
yeah.
it. But yeah, but I mean, if we can do it, I mean, it's a perfect environment to do it. I mean, one of the first apps that I downloaded on the Oculus Quest was like a poker app
Poker.
just to kind of
Yeah,
sit there at the table and play the cards with everybody. So yeah, I'd love to see like a casino type place in there.
definitely be cool. Definitely be cool. One just popped in. Just got the beta key on the secondary. I'm still eligible for the Hollow X and all the possible airdrops and early supporter
Absolutely.
benefits. Yeah.
Yep. So if you're holding that, I mean, it's you hold, you're going to earn. So a big thing that we were kind of, or the thing that I keep saying is like early doesn't mean supporter. So like if you got that key for 100 hollow wax, if you got it for 100 wax, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're a long time term supporter. So if you hold on to stuff that you got early on and be a long time supporter, you're going to get a ton of benefits. So yeah, so if you
Awesome.
have it and you buy it and you hold on to that, when things get released, you will be included in them.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Before we wrap up, is there anything you want to shout out, or Dan, anything you want to say for everyone watching?
Yeah, so big thing is if you're a creator, go to immersys.io. There's a creator application, get your collections in there. We're really trying to add every single person in there. If you are, just interested in the game, we have a little subscription area on our website to go check out and put in your email and your wallet, and you might get some promos and an NFT sent out that way. Then follow us on Twitter at Immersys. And yeah, so if you can pick up a beta key, we encourage you to pick it up. I know they're expensive on the secondary market, but we'll try and make it worth it for you. And come in, experience the world, and make recommendations, make suggestions, give us feedback because our ears are open and we're listening.
Come
Awesome.
battle
Awesome.
me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dan and Ruthless, for joining us today. I think everyone was really excited to hear about it. I honestly got a lot out of it, probably more than most, because I'm really interested in the project. And I mean, there's no easier way to learn about something than by the guy making it. So we all really, really appreciate that. And who knows, maybe episode 2 of this podcast could be on Immersys. That would be really awesome in the future to do that. Maybe we'll put on some VR headsets in the future and do this again. So
That'd be crazy.
thank you so much, and we're really looking forward to everything you're doing with Immersys and Eleblobs.
Yeah, shout out to the team too. They put in a ton of work getting this ready, and I make stupid games. I know he was grinding, making sure everything was proper. But yeah, so shout out to the Immersys team. You guys killed it this week. It was exciting to see.
Awesome, and we're really excited to get in there and test it all out. I'm sure everyone is. And guys, that's going to do it for episode 5 of the NFT Gaming podcast. Please make sure you check out the giveaway sponsored by Dan and Immersys.io. Going to give away 2 supporters pins. So be able to, as Dan said, pick them up on Atomic Hub on Wednesday. If you're into the project, make sure to follow all the socials linked in there to see what new updates Immersys is going to bring. And, give us a follow too. We'll be live for our next podcast on episode 6 next Friday. And I think it's safe to announce as of right now, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So we're going to, for our next podcast, episode 6, we are going to have Loke Hansen, the popular Lost Relics YouTuber, on the podcast, which would be really awesome for all you Lost Relics fans. I wasn't going to announce it today, but I figured he just gave me confirmation about an hour ago, so it's good as time as any. Thank you, everyone. Oh yeah, thank you everyone so much for tuning in, and I hope everyone has an incredible rest of their Sunday.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.